Billy Graham doesn't deserve the same honor as Rosa Parks and as the two Capitol police officers who were slain in the name of duty in 1998. He just doesn't. This isn't a hot take. It's not controversial to state a fact, because those are people who serve their country. Billy Graham didn't serve his country. Even if he was a presidential advisor, he still didn't serve his country, because all he was interested in were the interests of Christians. And that's not the same thing as serving the American/estadounidense people. It's not controversial to say. It's just true. If all I was interested in was making atheism more normal, making atheism more accepted, I would be doing something good, but I wouldn't be serving my country or any particular country in any objective way. I wouldn't be focused. I would have broader interest in that, just like Billy Graham did. And I'm not saying that Billy Graham's interests were evil. I disagree with them, but I'm not going to malign him in that particular way. It's easy enough to point out that he's a bad person without saying that his activism and his goals themselves were bad. I don't need to stretch myself that far to be able to make a case for Billy Graham being a bad person. It's really easy to do. Just quote Billy Graham, and then you'll see that he's a bad person. Not a problem. The fact of the matter is, Billy Graham got an honor that is typically reserved for people who serve their country and people who live their lives dedicated to fighting for it. And he got that honor, and that's problematic because he didn't deserve it. And the reason he got it is because he was the favorite of a lot of people in Congress. And he was a problematic favorite, obviously, because, he's a dumpster fire of a human being. But he didn't deserve it, not just because he was a bad person, but because he doesn't really qualify. He didn't fight for the interests of the United States. He fought for the interests of Christians. And in a lot of ways, those interests, at the very least in his view, coincided. He was against communism, for instance. And that is an interest that aligns with both the interests of the United States and his own personal interests, or at the very least he thought they did, so he fused the two of them together. And that was the reason he did a lot of the things that he did. But it doesn't mean that he actually did things that were good for the country itself. It doesn't mean that he was an effective champion for Americans all over the world. He wasn't. And I don't understand why people want to pretend that he was. I guess it's because they have nostalgia, and it's frustrating. But if you pretend that Billy Graham deserves this honor, you're wrong, and you should just stop pretending. It's okay to admit that you want Billy Graham to have this honor, but it's not okay to pretend to lie and pretend that he actually deserves it. It's frustrating. This is a different kind of video that I usually make, but I made a Pathos post where I pointed out that Billy Graham was a bad person. It was really easy. I'll be linking that in the description down below. I'll be talking about how he morally in that post, I'm talking about how he morally doesn't deserve it. In this, I just talk about how his life and how his activism made him not deserve it. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you later.